Hello and welcome to the PowerBuilder and InfoMaker license activation video, a quick tutorial for common scenarios. Let's have a look at the topics that we're going to cover. First of all, how to activate an online license. So the first thing you probably notice when you start PowerBuilder or InfoMaker, it comes into the login screen right away once you launch the IDE. You need to be able to log in order to use the particular instance of PowerBuilder that you've installed. You press the login button, select login, and then it says you cannot find a license. Let's have a look at this whole license activation sequence. The first thing you'll need to do is visit the Appeon website at www.appeon.com. You notice in the upper right hand corner there's a login icon that you need to press. Once you do that, then you'll need to be able to select create a free account. Before the license can be activated in your PowerBuilder InfoMaker installation, you need to have an Appeon account so that your license administrator can tie that to your specific PowerBuilder installation. So now selecting create an account. So once you fill out the basic information on the top left hand side, make sure that you've checked the terms and conditions. You can actually read them here and the privacy statement. And also process the I am not a robot sequence. Once you have a green check mark from I'm not a robot, select the create an account link, and this will create your Appeon website login that your administrator needs to attach to the license in order to activate it. So notice at this point you can also subscribe to Appeon announcements, product announcements, and a monthly newsletter. So you can opt out or opt in of this before you select create an account, or you can change that later on. So once you create an account, you'll be able to come back to the website, select login. I'll use my login credentials and select the login icon. So at this point we actually have a blue background person ID icon at the top right hand side. That means you're logged in and everything's ready to go. You'll need to be able to pass that information to your license administrator in order to create your license. The license administrator will basically attach your email account to a specific product edition of PowerBuilder or InfoMaker. Before contact your license administrator at your company, make sure you know what edition you may want to use. For PowerBuilder, for example, we have Standard, Cloud, and Universal. Indicate to the license administrator which edition that you would like to activate. Also notice that you have the choice of either an online or offline license account. Note that an offline license account does not allow you to run the PowerBuilder or InfoMaker IDE on separate machines. It also does not support running on a virtualized environment. Notice that the online licensing, however, allows you to actually log in and out of the PowerBuilder or InfoMaker IDE on as many machines as you'd like. It also supports logging in or out of the IDE installed on multiple virtual machines. Appeon suggests that you choose the online mode. It's the most versatile. Note the details of license administration is covered in the license administration video. Assuming at this point that the license administrator has attached your email address to an instance of a purchased copy of PowerBuilder or InfoMaker, coming back to the login screen, selecting login should basically launch the IDE now and is now fully usable. You'll notice up in the top right hand corner, it indicates in the IDE, both PowerBuilder and InfoMaker, that you're successfully logged in with that user ID. If you select the drop down, you'll notice that you can go back to account management. And here you can actually see the actual license information itself. We can confirm that we're running an online license when we actually logged in, how long the license will continue for before we'll need a new license. We're using the universal copy and which build of PowerBuilder or InfoMaker that we're using. On the left hand side, notice that we can manage your user profile information, and there's also a link here to sign out. Or if the license administrator has refreshed your license, then you can hit the refresh button. Notice you would do that, for example, if you're switching editions. It's quite handy sometimes to just use the standard edition if the PowerBuilder developer is working on a simple client-server application, but maybe later on that same developer may attach themselves to a different project and they may need the Universal Edition because they want to be able to build both web and mobile applications and web services. So how do we work offline when we have no internet access? Well, of course, if we have an offline license, that license is physically installed on that particular machine, and the PowerBuilder or InfoMaker IDE no longer needs internet access. However, if we have an online license, there are a couple of restrictions. First of all, do not log out of your PowerBuilder or InfoMaker session. If you do that, because for example you've installed on a laptop and you're now traveling and you don't have internet access, when you start the IDE again, it will want to log in and therefore it needs internet access. If you don't log out of the PowerBuilder or InfoMaker IDE, then it doesn't check the server for 5 working days, which means you can continue to travel with your laptop, for example, for 5 working days without any internet access. After that point, the IDE will need to connect to the license server just to validate that your PowerBuilder license is still active. Well, the next topic, how to switch my license to another machine. First of all, this is automatic when you have an online license. However, the license server does not allow you to be signed in to 2 or more machines at the same time. You have to log out of the current IDE to move to the next IDE on a different machine. So returning back to the PowerBuilder IDE, for example, we would select again from the top right hand side, Account Management, and then select Sign Out. And now this is what this particular machine would show you. You'd now be able to go to a different machine. Again, you may have various machines, one at home, a laptop, multiple work machines because you work in different divisions, or you may have installed PowerBuilder on a test or production, as well as your workstation. So make sure you sign out first, then you can start the IDE on another machine, select Login, and then on that alternate machine, you'll be able to continue on where you left off. If you do log in, however, and you notice that you get the message you are already logged in, most likely you forgot to log out of the previous machine before you started the PowerBuilder InfoMaker IDE on another machine. Just go back to the previous machine, log out, come back to this machine, hit the login button again, and you should be ready to go. However, what happens if your machine is being loaned to somebody else, they're not in the building, you forgot your laptop at home, you're now at work, or vice versa. So how do you actually get going without physically going to the other machine because it's not convenient? In this case, contact your license administrator. The license administrator has the ability in their console to actually force a logout of the session. Once the administrator is actually forced to log out, notice that you'll get an email indicating that the logout has been actually forced. Notice this email will also detail who the license administrator is and their email address if you have any further questions. Coming back to the PowerBuilder InfoMaker IDE, once the administrator has forced the logout of that particular session on the previous machine, go to the machine that you want to use the IDE and select the Login button again. And notice that the login is successful and you can continue at that point using the PowerBuilder InfoMaker IDE as normal. This ends the video tutorial on license activation. For more information, please visit www.appeon.com. Thanks for watching.